Hello and welcome to another one of my Leetcode videos. In this one, we'll do Leetcode number 2491, which is dividing players into team of equal skill. So basically, we're given an array called skill, and it has an even length n, meaning n is an even number, and each element in the array denotes the skill level of the ith player. So now we have to divide the players into n over 2 teams of size 2 such that the total skill of each team is equal. So basically, in other words, we need to create pairs of people where each pair has the same total skill. And the chemistry of the team is equal to the product of the skills of the players on that team. So let's say if player 1 has a skill of 5 and player 2 has a skill of 6, so the chemistry of that team of 2 people is 5 times 6, 30. So we need to return the sum of the chemistry of all the teams, and -1 if there's no way to divide the players into teams of equal skill, right? So our first challenge is, how do we actually divide the teams into pairs such that their skill levels are equal? So if you think about it, let's take this example, right? So if you think about it, for the skills to be equal, we actually kind of need to pair the weakest player with the strongest player, right? And why is that? Because let's say the strongest player is 5. If we pair anyone else to 5 who is not the weakest, right? Let's say we pair 2 to 5, that will make 7. Since the next biggest is 4, then there will be no one to pair 1 with, because 1 is the weakest, and we already assigned the strongest player to someone else. So there's no way we can beat this team of 7 with this weakest player. So our the only way we can get teams of equal skill is to pair the weakest player with the strongest player and keep doing that, right? And the best way we can do that is to first sort the arrays. And that way, if you notice, we pair 1 and 5, their skill is 6. We pair 2 and 4, their skill is 6. We pair 3 and 3, their skill is 6. And if at any point we notice that we can't actually create a pair, let's say this was 4.5, or we only have integers, but let's say it was 4.5, just to show the point, we would notice that 2 plus 4.5 is not equal to 6, and we'll say that we can't actually, we'll return -1 because we can't pair them up. So our strategy will be to take the sum of the first and the last number and then make sure that every subsequent one conforms to that. And we know that there will be at least 2 elements in the array and the length is even, so those are good assumptions to have. So let's get into coding. So the first thing we'll do is sort the array. After we sort the array, we want to get the sum of the first and the last element because we want to make sure that everyone conforms to that sum. So this is the sum. And now what we'll loop through every element up to the middle of the array, right? So from 1 to the middle, and then we'll find the pair of each element and make sure that it's equal to the sum that we have here. So we have this loop where we go from 1 to skill.length over 2. So we go from the first index to the middle, and now for each index we need to find its pair, right? So here is the pair index. The pair index will be the skill.length minus 1, which is the last index, and then minus whatever I we have. So in the case of I equals 1, we'll have skill.length minus 1, which is this, minus 1, minus 1, which is I. So then 2 and 4 will be paired up. And then when I is equal to 2, we'll have skill.length minus 1, which is the last index, minus 2. So it'll be paired up with 3. And we'll stop at skill.length over 2. So we'll stop right at the middle of the array. And so first we should check that if skill at I, so here we check whether the sum of their skills is equal to the sum that we want for everyone, right? The first and the last. And if it's not, then we return -1 because we can't, That means we can't pair them up into equal teams. And then otherwise, we need to add the product. Since we need to return the sum of their chemistries, right? We need to add their chemistry to the accumulated product. So we'll say int chemistry is equal to skill at I times skill at pair index. This will be the chemistry of this team, and then we will keep track of a sum of chemistries and add the chemistry to it, and at the end we will return sum of chemistries. And so now I just need to initialize sum of chemistries, and let's comment this out so it doesn't fail compilation. Okay, I realized that we actually need to add the chemistry of the first team also initially to sum of chemistries, because this loop is starting at the second pair, right? So we need to add the chemistry of the first pair to our initial sum. So let's go ahead and do that. So yeah, that will just be the skill of the first player times the skill of the last player. And it looks like we need to make this a long because the chemistry can exceed the integer bounds. Perfect. Accepted. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.